The first thing that you're going to need to do is write your name on your plastic bag using a piece of tape. So you'll just lay the tape on top of the old name, and then you're going to write your name in Sharpie right on the tape, and you are going to use this plastic bag as a way to keep your project from day to day. Next, you're going to take the ceramic gnome design plan handout and write your name at the top. And there are 3 cones on this handout, and you are going to design 3 different plans for your ceramic gnome. So these plans can be very similar, they can be very different. You'll probably want some eyes and a nose and a mouth, maybe a mustache or a beard, some kind of hat. And you can change the top as well. It doesn't have to be pointed. If you wanted to make it rounded or change the shape a little bit, that is totally fine. It doesn't have to stay like a cone. And so my first design plan kind of looks more like a traditional gnome. Now I'm going to try making a female gnome with some big lips and some hair and some arms. So you can add arms, legs, add anything you want. And then the last idea I have is a pirate gnome. And so he's going to have a bandana on his head, a beard, and a little hook on his hand, and an earring in his ear. And I decided that I liked the pirate idea the best, so I'm going to do a pirate gnome. Now I have my cone in front of me, and I also have some extra clay and some slip. So slip is that clay and water mixture. And now I'm going to take my extra clay and start making different pieces for my pirate gnome. So I decided that I'm going to start by making his eye patch. And the shape of an eye patch is very similar to a circle, so that's why I formed a circle first. And then I'll turn it a little bit more into an eye patch shape by using my clay tool and trimming off some of the sides. Now I like to start with the eyes first, but this eye patch is kind of like his eye because it's going to be covering up one of them. Now you always have to make sure that you scratch to attach or score on both sides of the things that you are attaching, and then add some slip to make sure those attach really well. Really scratch it up. If you don't scratch it up, things are going to fall off, especially in the kiln or while it's drying. It's very likely to fall off if you do not score and slip. So please make sure you do that. So now I'm going to move on and add the little band around the back of his head to hold the eye patch in place. So now I'm just forming that and I'm scratching to attach. And next I'm going to make the other eye for my pirate gnome, the one that is actually going to be showing. And I formed a small ball of clay and then kind of smushed it out to make a flatter circle shape, which is what I want for my eye. And then you want to score and slip to attach it. You might have to press down. And then I'm adding a pupil. And now I'm going to make the nose. And a nose is actually kind of like a cone shape, and you can actually use a pencil to make the nostrils of the nose, and then score and slip to attach the nose. You'll notice I'm blending with my wooden tool, one of my clay tools. You can do that with the plastic clay tools as well, and that's going to make sure that it stays on really, really well. So if you want it to stay on extra well, you can blend those seams a little bit. And now I'm going to make the mustache. And I'm always checking to make sure I have the right size, and then scoring and slipping to attach them. And there's his mustache. Now the last thing I need for his face is a mouth, and I'm just going to do a tiny little smiling mouth. Or it looks like his mouth is open, or maybe he's sticking his tongue out at you. Now I'm going to add some more details like a beard. I also need to add his arm with his hook, and I'll need to add some textures later too. So now I'm going to add the beard, and I'm scoring to attach the beard on the other side of the cone. And now I'm making his ear. An ear is usually just a half circle shape, so if you make a circle of clay, you can cut that circle in half. And now I'm making his earring to attach to the ear, which is just kind of a snake of clay, and I'm attaching it using slipping and scoring, and I'm blending it together to make sure it stays together really well. And now I'm going to start adding textures, so I'm actually going to use my pencil to add polka dots to make it look like a polka dot bandana that he's wearing. And textures are pretty easy to make out of or using any kind of tool. So you can use a pencil, you can use a wooden tool, a plastic tool, maybe even something that you have with you. You can use paper clips, toothpicks. It's really up to you, and you can make some pretty cool textures using those things in clay. So you'll notice I have a few cracks in my clay, and that happens as it starts drying, especially on the base. So if you have any small cracks like that, don't worry, don't freak out. All you need to do is add a little bit of slip, and it'll smooth it right out, and then you'll be just fine. So I like to do that towards the end when I'm almost done. I will finish it up by smoothing it out and filling in any cracks. Now I'm almost done, but when I look at the back of my pirate, there isn't really much going on. So I decided that I'm going to add some hair to the back of my pirate gnome. And you'll want to do that too. If you have a lot of blank space on the back or the sides, make sure you add some things. Try and think of some things that you can add to your gnome or animal or other person. It doesn't have to be a gnome. And now I'm going to add some hair texture just using my wooden tool, just pressing it right in. And adding some hair texture to the mustache, and then I'll add some to the beard. And there is my finished pirate gnome. And I'm going to put him in the bag to keep it from drying out. So make sure you have your name on the bag and seal up the bag completely. And then you'll put that in the cupboard until next class.